Hi everybody, it's Envy here. So first and foremost, I'm gonna thank you all for coming and watching my videos. Thank you for showing love and support. Slowly but surely we will get to the point where this is like, maybe viral. Who knows? But just thanks for coming and showing love. Definitely like, comment, share, hit the thumbs up button, and get this out to as many people as we possibly can. The lighting in here is so bad. So what I first want to talk about is maybe a little bit about me today. Today was one of those really not so good days for me. It was one of those days where I kind of broke down a little bit. The reason being, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I just recently moved from my little hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I moved out here to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm right outside Atlanta in this little city called Conley. I think it's like 4 blocks long, honestly, because 2 minutes in one direction, I'm in Atlanta, a block in the other direction, I'm in Forest Park, but whatever. Um, the reason for me moving out here is because back home I felt like a big fish in a small pond. Now, you can take this one of two ways, and it could either be I thought I was the hot shit and I was a big boss or whatever you want to call it, just like I was doing big things. That's not the case whatsoever. Me and my kids were okay. I was doing well for myself. Now, that in itself is not enough for me. That was never enough for me. I never wanted to just do okay. I never wanted to just survive or just get by. I wanted to be successful in my own right, not anybody else's version of success, but my version of success. And I wanted my kids to have the opportunity to find success for what they see it as well. And I didn't see that being possible in Scranton, honestly. For one, we're definitely the wrong skin complexion. Like I keep saying, as pale as I am black. My kids are just as high yellow as I am. They're black too, though. And there's not a lot of success in Scranton to begin with, especially not if you're black. So I didn't want those restraints on them. So what made me pick Atlanta was one, I had family. I had moved away from Scranton once before, and I moved somewhere where I didn't know anybody at all, and it wasn't really the best situation. So I had to go back home, get my stuff together, and now I'm here. The reason why I picked Atlanta is, like I said, I have family out this way, and also because I want to start this nonprofit organization, which you've probably heard me talk about a few times. It's called the Pretty Academy. The Pretty Academy is an after school program that has a little bit of cotillion in it, which most people know. It's like a debutante ball, but usually black people do a cotillion, white rich people do debutantes, whatever. It's a little bit of cotillion, it's a little bit of like the extracurriculars, you're dancing, art, whether it's performing arts, creative arts, computers, cooking, sports, whatever the case may be that you're interested in, we want to have. This program will be probably from about like 3 to about 9. That's when it'll be open. Let's see. But I came here because one, in the North, cotillion is like an odd thing. They don't really understand it. They don't get it. Some people actually think it's really backwards. But being that my grandmother and my family is originally out here, I always knew what it was, and I always knew what it was for, and I always wanted to be part of it. Like I wanted a coming out party when I was 16 so badly, because to me that was just something, we're supposed to do that. Like you're supposed to, like, coming out to society. I'm a woman now. Didn't get that. I don't even think there's a cotillion society in Pennsylvania. If there is, it's probably in Philly, nowhere near Scranton. But anyway, but this program is specifically for teenagers from like 12 to 19, because we want to get the girls, and it's teenage girls. We want to get the girls from the point where they're still interested in school and haven't really got sidetracked yet, and follow them up into their first year of college. I picked teen girls first because I know, for one, even though our young black boys are having a lot of hard time and everything like that, I do not forget about them. They will be included eventually. I picked the girls first because the girls are the ones that bring home babies. The girls are the ones, I say it all the time, a lot of the things Black women, we have more power within our community than we understand, and we need to teach our daughters that. We need to teach that the way that our community and our society is always a reflection of us. We are the mothers. We are the ones that say yes or no. Like, teenage girls coming home pregnant, they're coming home pregnant because they said, like, okay, yeah, we can have sex. Of course boys are gonna ask. Yeah, that's boys are horny from birth damn near. So it's our daughters that we need to teach that self-respect. We need to teach them to be confident within themselves. And also we need to teach our girls to stop being very catty with each other. That's something that we have to get very, very far away from. So that's what that program is. It's really for. It's for these teen girls to teach them more about themselves so they can have something that they're interested in for themselves. Now, once we get, the theory is, if I can get, say I take the east side of Atlanta or I take the south side, wherever the first one is open, and say it's 250 girls, and I get all 250 of those teenage girls to come through the program and graduate from our program, these girls are now going to have a higher standard for what they want for themselves, what they want out of their lives, and what they want from their boyfriend, their future fiance, future husband, whatever the case may be. So if you have 250 teen girls within one neighborhood, the boys are still going to try to get with those girls. The boys are still going to try to be influenced by these girls, try to still, deal with them in to a certain aspect. These girls are not that game and all that simple stuff that I got hit with, that my daughter and my nieces, and just that we let go, and the player and all that stuff. That's not going to fly anymore, because now these girls, they have a higher standard, and they're going to be like, I'm not dealing with you. I'm not putting up with this and putting up with that. Like, that is not okay. So if you have all of these girls doing that, then in theory, the boys are going to be like, they're either going to have to go completely to a different side of town to find a girl. And honestly, this is for people of this program is for people from low income, for people that don't get out of their neighborhoods too often. Like me, I grew up where I grew up at, and that was it. It wasn't until like high school and older, when I started venturing out on my own, that I started even going to the opposite side of town. And Scranton's nowhere as big as Atlanta is. So there's still always going to be a group of kids that only know that neighborhood. So the girl they're trying to talk to is from that neighborhood. All the girls these boys are trying to talk to and be around are going to be from their neighborhood. So they're going to have to eventually, they're going to have to step their game up. Their standards are going to be raised, because now these girl standards are raised. If the girl standards are raised, like I said, in theory, the boys are going to be like, yo, we got to do something different. Or they're not playing no games with us. Or they'll see the girls are doing better in school and doing all this other stuff, and then they're going to want to be interested in too. If it's not because they're trying to chase after these girls, then it's because they see that there's something there that these girls have, and that they're a little different now than they were before, and they're going to want that. And then that's when we will be able to introduce the gentleman society, and it'll be the same type of program, but like I said, just for boys. Obviously a different facility. I'm not going to have them in the same place, just because I don't need high school all over again. They're in school and they're worried about impressing this one and that one and all this other. And that is not the purpose of what this program is. The purpose is, we need these teens to be interested in something for themselves. Like, they need to do this for them and only them. Like, maybe it's, your son is interested in science, and in school he feels somebody's going to try to clown him, or the girls are going to talk about him. At the Gentleman Society, he's going to be able to go and figure it out and really invest in himself and what he's interested in, without worrying about really who's around. And statistics and studies show that when it is like an all male school or an all girls school, or anything that it's all the same sex, they're more likely to focus. Kids are always more likely to focus when it's all girls or it's all boys, because yeah, you think like, okay, but they're going to try to be outdoing each other. But for some reason, there's that, just like sororities and fraternities, there's that sense of brotherhood and sisterhood, and then they start working together, and then that whole competing with each other kind of goes out the window. And that's what we want them to learn to work together. And we're going to teach these boys to respect themselves, and respect females, and we're going to teach these females to respect themselves and respect males as well, but also to demand respect from the people around them. Like I said, I truly believe as women within our society, within our culture, we have a bigger power. We have more say so in how things go, but it's just the fact of generation upon generation, we let some of these basic foundations of things that if you talk to your grandmother, she knew. Like my grandmother knew, like, yeah, my grandfather, he went to work and he paid the bills and he made the money, but my grandmother paid the bills. My grandfather went to work every day. He would get paid on Friday or whenever, and he would cash his check and he would take his own allowance out and give the rest of the money to my grandmother. Whatever that, he didn't ask questions, everything was done by my grandmother. My grandmother always used to tell me, you run a relationship, should say it all the time. You still have to let your man feel as though he's the man. Let him think that he's making these decisions. But at the end of the day, our influence on our men is so strong that as long as we have good morals and a good foundation, that we can make sure that our men do. And that's what's wrong with our community. Our morals and our foundations are gone. And I want to rebuild foundations, because with a good foundation, your morals and everything else within yourself is going to get better. Okay, I know I went into that a little bit. So, my purpose of this video is to talk about, if you need a good cry, honestly, just let it out. Like I said, it's been hard. I've been down here for a little while now. My plan, honestly, I had this well thought out plan plan. It was perfect. Everything, I had a backup for the backup, and it all went to shit. All of it. Nothing went the way it was supposed to be. I'm sitting here now and I'm stressed. I'm borderline depressed, and I'm literally going crazy because I don't want to spend money I'm not supposed to be spending, because money is so tight. So it's like, okay, I can't even go and do this because I got to make sure I have gas in the car to get the kids from school, and I got to make sure I can get to this and get to that and all this other stuff. So it's just like I feel like I'm in a box. Now, like I said, being that little pond in being a little fish in that big pond made me feel like I didn't have room to grow. That's really what I needed to leave for. But now that I'm in Atlanta, I feel like this little minnow in the ocean. And that's a scary thought, to feel as though you have no control, no say, to feel as though you're so small. I won't say insignificant, but to feel you're so small compared to everything around you is a little frightening. And of course, I've been for years that strong, independent. I can't show weakness. I have to be strong. Especially with my kids, I can't let them see me get upset. I can't let them see me be sad or anything like that, because then I don't want them to get nervous and scared, because your kids can always feel what you're feeling. That reflects to everyone outside of you. But today it was like I couldn't hold it in anymore. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to. I really truly didn't want to. I needed to let it out. I really truly did. I was saying for the past few days, I've noticed my temper has been worse. I've had an attitude. I didn't want to get out of bed. I barely wanted to leave out of my room. And it was just like, ugh, like, what did I do? Did I make the right decision? All this other stuff. But I know deep in my heart that this was the right decision. Things were going completely wrong, even back home before I left. And it was like last minute, everything kind of just laid itself out perfectly. Like, nope, you're going to go and you're going to make it to Atlanta. Like, it's fine. There's nothing wrong. So to me, like, and I know this was the right decision. It's not easy. It is not easy at all. And it was just in so much. And I've let it all build up since I've been here. The being tight on money, not being able to take my, and that's being as a mother, as a parent, it's really hard knowing that you're doing one thing for your kids, but in that time, you can't do any of the things they want. Like they want to go places, they want to do things, and it's like, we can't right now. We can't afford it. I got to save money. We can't do this. We can't do that. I spent about 4 hours in the park today, literally just to get out of the house. Like, just go play, leave me alone. I sat under the tree on the bench and let them play because one, I needed them to run out some of their energy, and two, I just needed the peace and quiet. But before that, what made me even get the energy to get up and get dressed, I got up and I went in the car and I cried. And I didn't want to because crying to me, it was always like it was a sign of weakness. Like if you cry, you're weak. You're not strong enough for this. And I just hate the thought. And crying is so ugly and it's just bad. But I realize sometimes you just need it. And that's really all of this that I talked about today. One, let you get to know a little bit about me, why I'm here, what all of this is for. And two, just because you can be strong, you can be independent, you can be handling your situation. If you need a good cry, let it out. Sometimes it makes it better. Like, not saying to dwell and cry all day or anything like that, but sometimes if it's that bad, if it's that hard, sometimes you just need to let it out. Like, it's not saying that you're not strong. It's not saying that you can't handle the situation you're in. What it's saying is you're human and it got to you, but just don't give up. And that's basically like I went in my car. I smoke. I'm not condoning smoking at all, but I got a cigarette. I went in my car. The kids were in the house. I rolled down the windows and I just cried. I think I cried more than I actually did smoke my cigarette. And then I just listened to the birds and the traffic and just my neighborhood. And all the bad thoughts went through my head first. Like, oh my God, did I make the right decision? What did I do? I think I just messed up for me and my kids. Like, just everything bad that's been on my mind that I've been holding in, I let it all cross my mind. And that's what made all the tears come. Like, it came flowing. But then right after that, I had to reassure myself, like, you know why you did this. You know why you're here. It's always darkest before dawn. You just got to get through this. Just hold on. It'll be okay. And so that's really everybody what I want to let you know. Men, women, it doesn't matter because I have to remind my son all the time. And I hate the fact that we do not let men cry because it shows that they're not weak. They're human. I'm not saying cry over every little thing, but also at the same time, don't let it build up too much because it can turn bad. If you have a lot on your plate, it's okay to let it out. Don't hold it all in. Break down a little bit if you need to. It took 5 minutes. I got up, I cried, I came in the house, I laid back down in my bed. Didn't really help. Got in the shower. I think I cried for maybe like 2 minutes in the shower. And then it was like, whew, like, all right, that's done. Like, all right, y'all get dressed. We about to go to the park. We're gonna go get some stuff so y'all can have some snacks. And went in the park and I let them play for a couple of hours, went and got them some ice cream, and then came home. I'm good now. Like, I've been miserable for the past 3, 4 days almost. And just that few minutes of crying, that few minutes of actually letting it out helped. So crying is not a sign of weakness. If you need a good cry, then take it. Sometimes we just need to let it out. And that's what I all want you to know. Do not think because, especially within our community, because we swear we have to be the strongest at all times. Literally, it's to the point where you got to look at it. Being black in itself is being strong. Like, you have to go through so much just because of who you are and who your ancestors are. That's enough on its own. So regular everyday stresses and stuff that you're in, especially if you're going through big stuff with your family, your finances, whatever it is, all that builds up. And yeah, we're made to handle it. We truly are. But sometimes you gotta let it out. Sometimes it's too much. And it's just like, oh my God, like, when it's enough is enough. Like, please let it out. It does not mean that you're weak. It does not mean that you cannot handle the situation that you're in. And before, I used to always say, just suck it up and deal with it. Sometimes letting that cry out is sucking it up and deal with it. Because did it make anything different of my situation? No. Did it basically almost relieve some of that built up pent up frustration, and it did. It really did. It relieved some of that frustration. And then it just had me be like, okay, crying's not going to change it. Like, I let that cry out. I needed it. It felt better. It's not going to change my situation. It's a Saturday right now. I have all of my kids. I can't go on a job interview right now, but I still have my computer. Filled out a couple of job applications while I was at the park and everything. Like, so it didn't change anything, but it didn't make it worse. And it has been to the point where I'm not pissed off anymore. I'm not aggravated. And I know I can handle my situation. I know I'm still just as strong as I was 2 weeks ago, just as strong as I was yesterday. I honestly think it shows my strength more that I did let that cry out, and I didn't let it make me feel as though I was less than or I couldn't handle this. The thought of going back home is completely gone now. Like, why would I go back home? I left for a reason. I'm not going to find what I'm looking for there. So I'm here and I have to deal with what I have to go through. And sometimes that sucks. And sometimes we don't want to have to go through these hard things to get to where we're going. But we wouldn't appreciate what we're shooting for, what our goals are if we didn't go through hard times and bad situations. So, like I said, crying does not make you weak. Let it out. Crying is part of your strength. Crying can be part of your situation. And I'm not saying actually cry. Like, you don't have to cry. What I'm saying is you can kind of flip out. Don't flip out on anybody, but like the situation, they be like, oh, break something. If it's something that you don't care if it gets broken, throw it. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to go outside and yell, yell. If you need to punch a pillow or do something, or maybe some people it's exercising and you just got to go really hard for an extra hour, like whatever it is, but let it out. For me today, it was definitely that cry, and it was definitely that I broke down for 5-10 minutes, and then I got myself back together because nobody else is going to pick up your pieces but you. People can try to help, but you have to pick up those pieces. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can figure this out. So if you need a good cry, have one. Just don't let it break you down completely, and know that crying does not mean that you're no longer strong. All right, so I know I was here for a little while today. I want to thank everybody again for coming by. Hopefully you take something good out of this video. I do appreciate everybody, and have a good night. Thanks. Bye.